From rainy Curtis Viking Stadium, it's the Curtis Vikings versus the Clover Park Warriors. Captains are in the center of the field for the coin toss. Jason Bass, number 23, Evander Poy, number 80. Number 1 is Ed Haugh, and number 55 is Jeff Haugh. The coin will be tossed as Curtis Vikings 2-4 on the season, 1-3 league. Clover Park Warriors 1-5 on the season. Webster and Haugh are out to the left. Johnson in the backfield. Lucy to pass. He's hit as he throws. He's got Haugh open. Haugh was open at about the 3. Mike Lucy threw a strike, and Curtis is on the scoreboard first. Receiver comes back across from the left side. Quick pitch out on the right. Eric Core had him, and he did get him down. Eric Core, number 90. First contact for Curtis. He had help stopping the receiver back at about the 13. Jack Morgan at quarterback for Clover Park, up under the center. Flexing the line. Motion to the left. Morgan on the handoff, and the ball's loose, and Curtis falls on top of it. Looks like Tim Phillips. Second 3 for Curtis. Fake in the backfield, hole over the left side. Johnson, and he's pulled down at the 34-yard line. Damon Johnson. Damon Johnson has been running pretty good here early in this ball game. Pick up a 5 on the play for Gage. Second 5. Curtis, handoff, Haugh, hole over the left side, but there's a flag on the play. Now in the first half. Receivers on the left side. Quick pitch to the outside to Gage. He's got some running room. Couple blocks on the outside. He spins and is thrown down. Just about a first down. Sam Gage with room on the left side. Second 7, Curtis at the 9-yard line of Clover Park. Quick pitch, Gage. He's got some blocking. Sam cuts back and he goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Curtis on a sweep to the right side. The Vikings add to their lead.
Well, Jeff, I'm following up on our conversation. One of the last we had, and you talked about, wanting a legacy for your family, and especially your children. And so here we are at Curtis High School, and we're down on the field, we're on the stadium, and what I, intend to do is share with your family, basically, my experience with Jeff Haugh here. In 1988, put on the first and last overnight skills camp for grade school students in University Place, 4th grade through 6th grade. And I'll never forget being down. We were on the field here, but the field was a grass. We used to call it, you guys called it astro grass at that time. But it was a grass field. We were down here. And the thing that stood out when I first met you was, from the very start, bringing you in, bringing all the players in, and just I could see your focus and your attention, and that this is something you'd been looking forward to. We got down on the field, the same thing. You were right up there in front of me, wanted to be first. You were ready to go. You were focused, you were eager, but definitely something that would carry on. You were on a mission, and you were on a mission to play football at Curtis High School. You were on a mission to learn all you could about this game, to be a football player, and to walk down the stairs over here on Friday night in your Viking uniform and play in front of the community in the stadium and be a part of this experience. I could just tell by looking at it, it was more than just coming and having a good time. And that's one of the things that kind of eliminated the overnight, that became a little long, but you were the guy that was on task there too. But from there on, you went through, you played at the junior high, and I happened to listen to Coach Bemis's comments on his tape, and it was always the same. You were always focused. You were always ready. You bought into the whole thing. You bought into the preseason prep, the weight training. You bought into being a great student, not just being a good student, but a great student. You bought into being at the spring practice, summer practice, going to camp, and we went to a number of different places and had a great time there, and being a great team member. But you bought into the whole thing, that you were a student athlete and that you were going to be a great Viking player. And the thing about it is, you always showed up ready, and the thing is that was different was your team, and I know in talking to Edna and other teammates, the thing that was frustrating, the 1993 season, your senior year, was not the same season. You'd watched state championship teams. You'd seen teams that just missed getting into the playoffs, and all of a sudden we had a year where we didn't win as many games as we lost. But what you guys did do, you led through your example. You unified us, and you set the foundation for those sophomores that were there and juniors, but the sophomores who in '95 won a state championship and could look back to a specific practice we had when the frustration came out and the senior leadership came through, and you led in adversity. So, that to me was the greatest achievement. But any time over the years that people would ask me why I coached, the first thing that happened was a picture of you would come to mind, and I'd see that young boy with dreams of being a part of this experience and being a part of a program, but to come down the stairs and be down here on Friday night and play in front of a crowd, but that was there, and that was why I coached. It had nothing to do with the success of the teams. It was because I got to be a part of young men's life, and you represented that. The other thing was, as I look back and I have talked to different people, especially Michael Camoris and Edna, but especially Michael, he shared that Casey Cronk and his sister used to babysit you. And he said that's where the inspiration to go to the Air Force Academy came from, because Casey graduated in '87 and had received a nomination academy, graduated, and I believe was a fighter pilot. But anyhow, and then there was another player in '89 and '90, Aaron Albertson, who had an opportunity to talk about it, that you really looked to and wanted to be like. You were in the junior high at that time, and hence the number 55, and that was your number. But the thing about it is, you were locked in somewhere. You were locked in to get into the academy, and it showed up in the things you did. You were captain. You won our Scholar Athlete Award. You were recognized as one of the finalists with the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Program, and you represented the best of what a Curtis football player could be. You could be a great student athlete, citizen, but being recognized there as one of the best in Pierce County said a lot. It wasn't easy getting to the academy. You shared with me that you wanted to go, had made a great contact with Coach Grobe, who coached and recruited this area and came in. He became a very good friend of mine. But we'd had like 6 players receive nominations to the academy and go either the prep school or the academy. And he would come in the spring, and spring of your junior year, I talked to him, And then you got a chance to talk to him at the same time, and he told you exactly what it was going to take. And the thing about it is you ended up making that all happen, and you worked your tail off, and you did everything possible to get to the academy. And you were exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for a person who had great character, great work habits, discipline, focus, and was a great teammate. And I think that's important, especially in all aspects of the military. But you made that happen. I know Ed told me about taking finals at school here, and he would always have to wait for you because you would use all the time up to take the test because you wanted to make sure you got that appointment. And you did. You got the nomination, got down the academy, and had a great career there. I had the good fortune. The wife and I dropped Nick off at Western Montana and Gunnison, and came back around, and I talked to you and stopped by the academy in '99. You were coaching the prep school. You're waiting for your you're basically where you were going to end up and your orders. And I had a chance to talk to Fisher DeBerry, who was the head coach at that time. And man, he said, you were one of the best he'd ever coached. And I knew that. He knew that. And just what a great compliment. And you represented this school. You were not the last to go to the academy. Justin Fisher, who was a ninth grader, I think was a freshman your senior year at the academy. Josh Garrett followed. Rashad Mobley followed and played down there. You continued that legacy. But for your family, your mom, Jeannie, Carl, your dad, Angela, Christos, Demi, and Alexa, you represented. You were without, you had a good time. The one thing I know too, you love fishing because you went with Mike down on the river, and that was just a treat to watch you guys take off together and head out. But your time here is remembered. Your family needs to know that you were the best.
Hey Jeff, Corey Kelly, class of 93, checking in from the Inland Northwest. Long time no talk, my man. As we look back at the footballs of the early 90s, I want to say you were an awesome teammate. We battled it out at that left guard position. You pushed yourself to be better. You pushed me to be better. And you also made the teammates around you better. Nothing but positive memories. I know you're in one hell of a fight right now. I just want to say keep pushing forward, stay strong, and go Vikes.
Jeff, I'm speechless. Few people can deal with adversity as well as you. You're intense, committed, dedicated, and most of all, amazing and awesome. And I am so sorry that you are going through this right now. I'm thinking of you. Lots of people are and will continue to. You have contributed and continue to contribute so much in so many ways. Your legacy lives on. Thank you, Jeff. Peace. Thank you.
What's up, Jeff? It's Tim Safford here. I'm here for you. Your ASB Vice President, teammate, Curtis High School graduate. Heard you were not doing so well, so I wanted to send a message of love and support for you and just give you quick thoughts, memories, and stuff to think about and enjoy. First thought I would have is, you as a person What I remember, because I haven't seen you in years, is our time at school. And I remember you just being kind of a goofy, fun guy. Just always laughing, always smiling, always, you know, having fun. That's what I remember. And when it comes to football, I remember you being in the middle. What were you, like a guard or tackle? I can't even remember, but I do remember you were down there on the line. I think you might have been an offensive guard, defensive tackle. Is that what you were doing? Or nose tackle? I know Keel was nose tackle a lot of the time, but I remember, man, you were tough. On the line, ready to fight. With one of the best defenses in the league, and nobody's denying that still to this day, I hope. But I love you, man, and I just want to send you love. Life is, you know, very different, as you were well aware, than when we were in high school. But those times are never forgotten, and neither are you, my friend. So take care. Know that you're loved, and peace out. Take it easy.
Hey Jeff, it's Mark. I'm happy for this opportunity to share with you a couple of my fondest memories of our time in high school. You know, I think the last time I spoke with you, actually, we were reminiscing about how we used to drive my my parents' minivan down Soundview at about 50 miles an hour with you hanging onto the back or top of it, pretending you were Teen Wolf. You know, one of the things that I enjoyed most about spending time with you in high school and in college and other times we've met up is the fact that you are always game for trying something new, for doing something different, for, you know, pushing the bounds of what can happen. And, you know, whether that was skiing, other athletic events, anything like that, you've always been somewhat of an inspiration to me, just in how you carry yourself and how you're not afraid to try things that are otherwise considered dangerous or risky. And that's just always been something I've enjoyed about our friendship, the time we've spent together, just doing different things, crazy stuff, whether, you know, skiing. I remember when I went with you to the Air Force Academy for your visit there, it was just me, you, and your dad that flew to Colorado Springs, and we went skiing at Winter Park, and it was a sunny day, and I think Winter Park's like at 10 to 12,000 feet elevation, and, you know, me, pretty fair-skinned guy, you, pretty fair-skinned guy. I brought tons of sunscreen. I slathered myself with it, and I kept reapplying it all day. And I think you may have put it on one time, maybe early in the morning you decided to put some on. But after that, you decided you wanted to get a tan. And so I remember the end of the day, me, you, and your dad are sitting at dinner, and your face is just so red and painful. And your dad is went and got vitamin E and was like asking you to put it all over your face, even like just that evening after we got off the slopes. And I remember just like laughing and being like, man, what a maniac, Jeff. And the story doesn't even end there. We get back to University Place, and we go that week of school after spring break. We're going out to lunch at Viafor's, and by this time, like I'd had like a flat top at the time, and so like the top of my head had gotten sunburned because I didn't put sunscreen there, so I had like some skin flaking off. But you had like an entire like neck of like dead skin that was like kind of coming apart. And I remember going to Viafor's, and you had the skin like hanging from your neck, and Carter Jett was there with us, and we were eating lunch, and he couldn't finish his lunch because he kept staring at the dead sunburned skin on the side of your neck from the sunburn. I don't know why I find that story so amusing, but I think it captures you in that you didn't care. Like you were you made up your mind you were going to get a tan, and by God, you were going to do whatever it took to get that tan. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think I've shared mostly relatively innocent stories, although from my talks with Ed, it sounds like your son Christos is somewhat of a daredevil himself. So I guess he has that taken after his father in that sense, which is it's scary, I'm sure, as a father, but it's also cool to see. So I just wanted to share those stories with you. I wish you the best, Jeff. Bye.
Hey Jeff, Matt Spadoni here. Did a little thinking back, and one thing immediately came to mind. Spadoni residence, 1992. Probably March, maybe April. A lot of teepee. Incredible amount of teepee. I mean, the guys did a fantastic job. I never would have known who it was. Well, let's be honest, I would have figured it out. Fortunately, I didn't have to, because one of them got caught. And that was you, my friend. I can still remember hearing you scream as my dog caught you behind my car and my mom had to come out and save you. Kind of rewarding, until I had to clean up the teepee. Mom told me you scampered off. She pulled the dog away. It's all good, man. Water under the bridge. We picked up the teepee. I was ready to throw it in the garbage. My dad told me, absolutely not. Pack it up in boxes. Show me where Jeff lives. I was like, Dad, don't make me. Nah, let's not do it. Nope, we're already in the car. Get to your house. I sheepishly kind of sit back. My dad says, hang on a second. Takes all the stuff, multiple boxes of teepee, to the front door. I was probably there for a couple minutes. I was around the corner. I don't actually know if he spoke to your dad or what happened. He came back smiling, said, it's all good. And honestly, it's all water under the bridge, man. It's something I think back of and I thank you for, because it's another memory I have of my dad, and it makes me smile. So I hope it makes you smile a little bit right now too, and I hope you're enjoying this video, and I hope just the best for you and your family, from me and mine. Take care, brother. Peace.
What's up, Jeff Haugh? Buddy Buck here, coming to you from Duval, Washington. This is take number 55. And man, I just haven't seen you in such a long time. I was just talking to Ed and talking to Coach Luce, and I wanted to send you a message, man. And even though we haven't seen each other in a while, that doesn't change much. You know, we're Curtis, we're family, we're Gridiron brothers. You protected my ass on more than several occasions, on the gridiron. So just wanted to also say, Jeff, thank you so much for your service. I love this country so much, and I just appreciate the sacrifice that you made in your life for me, to go out and do a bunch of things and, live free. And I appreciate you so much for that and your service. So I just wanted to give you a shout, man. We didn't hang out a lot after high school. We did a lot because we're in the gym and we're at practice every day together for a long time. But it doesn't matter. Again, time or distance didn't change much. I still love you. I still care about you very much. And I just, wanted to send you a message, man. Curtis for life. Love you, Jeff Haugh. Buddy Buck, out.
Hi, Jeff. James Bunch from the class of 92. I wanted to reach out and wish you and your family the very, very best, and let you know I am absolutely heartbroken over what you're going through at the moment. I also wanted to reflect on some of my memories of you. Although we've lost contact since our days at Curtis together, you will always stand out to me as a tenacious competitor, somebody who was very, very hardworking and always willing to put the team first and do whatever necessary for the good of the team. And I was not surprised at all to find that has become a theme in your life overall. I am humbled to learn of your accomplishments as an adult. Thank you so much for your contributions for our country. with your time in the Air Force in particular. And I also wanted to say that although those things certainly stand out, what really made you my favorite sophomore was your warm attitude, your infectious smile, and your eternal positivity. That's what I really, really remember most. And perhaps just because of the posturing of our relationship and the fact that I was a couple years older than you, maybe I started out as somebody you looked up to or as a role model. But we've certainly had a 180 since then. And at this moment, Jeff, you are a role model for me and for all of us. And I certainly look up to you. You are a hero, Jeff. And again, my best wishes and kindest, warmest regards to you and your family.
Jeff, buddy, Matt Nickel here. I hate that I'm sending this message under these circumstances. I hope that this finds you in the best condition possible right now. I want to say that you're in my family's prayers and thoughts. It's a tough situation, and I pray that things will go smoothly for you in the near future. Just a story I'm sure you remember. We didn't hang out a lot in high school. We were on the football team together, and you being a grade younger than me, I remember you always being very daring and very bold in a lot of the things that we did do together. You were one that was definitely willing to put yourself out there more than the rest of us. I remember you had a motor like nobody else on the field, and that was awesome to see, and that showed in your college years, going to the Air Force Academy and having a great career there. We were able to, me going to Utah and being in the same conference as Air Force, I remember we were able to see each other after a game and talk for a little bit and catch up. Even though I was a year ahead of you in high school, I was I don't know that we actually got to play against each other in college, because I was a little behind, having served a mission for my church. But we were able to catch up and reconnect a little bit. That would have been in probably 1998. That's a while back. But the one memory I have that's most vivid is when I was at the grocery store in Crofton, Maryland. This would have been probably 2004. I had just, I was pretty new with, in my job with the Secret Service at the time. And we were just getting to know the area and just checking out at Safeway. And I look over and I see this guy that who was looking at me, and I thought it was strange, and I had to do a double take, and I looked back over and I was like, oh my gosh, I know this guy. And we kind of were walking towards each other, and I knew right then and there it was Jeff Haugh, and I couldn't believe it. It was very surreal to see somebody from my childhood years across the country in Washington, D.C. And from then, we were able to connect quite a bit more, and our wives met, our families met. We were able to have each other over at our homes for those few months, we wound up moving on down to Atlanta, Georgia. But I remember it was almost like we hadn't missed a beat. Even though we weren't as close as some of your other friends, just having that connection from Curtis High School and athletics, football, it was awesome, and that was pretty neat. And I was sick to my stomach when I found out last week about your current health, and I pray that things will go smoothly for you and your family. Jeff, you're an awesome man. I know you had a distinguished military career. I know that no matter how things turn out, currently you will be with your family in the eternities. If your family needs anything, if Angie, the kids need anything, please let us know. We are now in Dallas, Texas, and getting close to retirement. But again, you're a great man, Jeff. Please let us know if you need anything at all. All right, brother. Love you, man.
Hey, Jeff. Abe Vanderpoy, class of '94, played with you all the way through high school. Currently teaching and coaching at Auburn High School, coaching football as well. Just want to wish you and your family well in these coming days and coming months. Just know that we'll be praying for you. I also wanted to, we were asked to share a nugget from what we remember, and I just want to let you know, a couple of years ago, I actually brought your name up in practice to a group of players of mine who were kind of struggling with the kind of nitty gritty of every day, grinding it out through practice, and I brought your name up as one of the guys I remember being a teammate of mine who just loved the nitty gritty and loved what we refer to now as kind of the lunch pail mentality. Just bring your lunch and go to work every day. And I'm sure that you've exemplified that in your life as well. So we just want to wish you well, and know that I have my coaching staff and our players will be keeping you in our thoughts and prayers, and be praying for you in the future. So good luck.
Hi, Jeff. Blast from the past. I'm Jeremy Wells. You were certainly more popular than I was back in high school, so I'm sure your friendship meant more to me than mine did to you. But you were always kind to me, and we did have some good adventures together. I currently live in Knoxville, Tennessee, of all places, but I do try to get home back to University Place about once a year. And when I do, I like to walk Olympic Drive. And when I pass by your boyhood home, I think of you and am filled with appreciation for your friendship and for having known you. To your wife and to your children, who I've never met, but I'm sure are fabulous, I would like to say that even from a young age, your husband and your father was special. There was just something about him. I knew, even back then, that he was going to be great and do great things. And by all accounts, he is, and he did. Jeff, may God bless you, and may he grant you and your family peace. Until we meet again, good friend.
Hi, Jeff. This is Bart Dixon from Curtis, and it's been a long time. I look a little different. I'm missing some things, some hair, but I needed to pause and take some time and share with you how much you have impacted me. My first memory of you is in the wrestling room at Curtis Junior High School, and you put me in a head and arm and squoze so hard I didn't know if I was going to make it to the next practice. And that was the first and most memorable version of having to be toughed up and roughed up for the better that I can remember as a young man. And through all our time together up in high school, on the football field and in the wrestling room with Mr. Reasons and Mr. Cowan, you continue to make me laugh, continue to push me, and make me better. and I'm really grateful to you for that. I know you've served our country well. You've been your husband and a father, and your legacy of joy for life and getting after it and having energy and passion and compassion is going to live on. I'll share that. I do share that type of message and hope that you mentored me with my 5 sons. And at this time, I just want you to know that I know that you're going to rest soon and you will be whole. And there is a great reason to hope for the future. And I pray God blesses you and your family, and that you continue to feel the love of your friends and from God. And I wish you my best, my friend.
Hey Jeff, Tim Huss here. Been thinking about you since I heard the news. Been thinking about all the times we had back in high school, our shenanigans that we got into, your forerunner and my parents' basement. We had a lot of good times, a lot of mischievousness. I particularly remember one night down in your basement when I think, who knows who it was, probably you, me, Ed, and Scott decided to go swimming in the Sound in the middle of the night. That was fun. Anyway, been thinking about you a lot. I'll keep you in my thoughts and your family. Hope you're doing well.
Hey Jeff, Corey here. Man, it's been a while. It's kind of a understatement, really. I think we're going on a couple decades now. It's crazy how life takes you into different directions, but man, we ran thick as thieves back in the day. So many fond memories of us in junior high, hanging out with the boys. Back then, I think we hung out a lot with Woody, and then in high school, me, you, Ed, and Mike. I think I probably spent more time in your downstairs than I did in my house growing up. God, we were idiots, but man, did we have a lot of fun. I think back to some of my fondest memories, and you were in them, man. One of my favorite things to do was on Friday nights to go watch number 55 crash some skulls. I never missed one of your games, and I certainly appreciated when you returned the favor and came and watched all my basketball games. But man, when I think back to my childhood and growing up, particularly in junior high and high school, I think of Jeff Haugh, and we had some really, really good times together. And even though we didn't get a chance to connect and be as close as we were back in the day after high school, man, I love you, bud. And I'll never forget the times we had together. Hey, Jeff. Just want to share another memory that we had in high school. I don't know if you recall this, but there was a USO show that was put on by the Marines, and all the senior class got into it and had different roles. There were some dancing, a group of us dressed up as Marines and put on a military funeral for a fallen military man, and so I think Ed and I were both in the military unit in that scene, and I don't think you participated in it for some reason, but every time I ended up seeing you when I was in my Marine uniform, you always made me recite lines from A Few Good Men. For some reason, one of the things that we enjoyed was that movie, and even though it was a drama, I don't know why we always thought the lines were so funny. I mean, and so it's just a memory I had. We always used to recite lines together. So I thought I'd do a little performance for you tonight. Jessup's last scene in the courtroom. So I'm going to get into pure Jessup right now. You want answers? I'll give you answers. You can't handle the truth. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know. While Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want to know the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, and loyalty. We use these words as a backbone of a life spent defending something. Use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man that rises and sleeps under the very blanket of freedom which I provide and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I'd rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Or I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to. Okay. Hey, Jeff, I promise this is my last video. I just want to introduce you to my family.
Hi.
This is Lila. She's 9. This is Lainey. She's 11. And this is my wife, Joanne. Hey, buddy. We'll see ya.
Hey, Jeff. Jason Bass here. You know, when Coach reached out and asked us to do this video tribute, I couldn't think of anybody more deserving. First of all, I wanted to say thank you for your service to our country. You know, the years that you spent in the Air Force and all that you've done. It seems like a lifetime ago since high school, but you know, we always remember those days, playing ball, running track, all those kind of cool things. You know, one of the memories, you know, that really has stuck out in my mind and that I actually carry with me to this day. I remember us, you know, we were doing the discus, throwing the discus one day, and you said, you know, Bass, you got a lot of athletic ability, but, you know, I'm going to outwork you. And, you know, it's something that I carry with me to this day because I don't think you realized it then, and I don't think I really realized it back then, but, you know, talent only can take you so far. You know, you got to still put in the work, and, you know, you certainly did that. And I recognize and I remember you doing that continuously on the football field, working hard and working out there on track practice, doing the discus and the shot put with me. Those are just some really good times, some really good memories that I have of you, brother. Listen, I know you're having some challenges, but my thoughts, my prayers are with you, with your family. I know you're going to pull through this. You know, feel free to reach out to me anytime, man. Much love. I'll talk to you soon. God bless.
All right, Jeff. I'm driving home from work, and I'm going to try and think of all the stories I can tell your family, and, you know, chances are you remember a lot of them, but of course we all remember stories differently. So where shall I begin? I think that we must have started as friends because of the Kronks. I think the Kronks were your initial babysitter in like kindergarten, and since the Kronks were friends with my sister, maybe they were out of town or something and they couldn't babysit, so they recommended my sister, and my sister started babysitting you and told me, hey, you know, one of your classmates, babysitting one of your classmates if you want to come over. And I think that's how it all started, is through the whole babysitting thing. God, it was just, you know, so long ago. I vaguely remember that part, but I do remember my sister babysitting you and me starting to come over. And so I guess that makes us 6 or 7. And as we discussed on the phone the other night, that might be the longest friendship or relationship you've had throughout your life, which is, it's obviously a very significant thing that I think about, and what makes it so special to be part of your life. So as far as I know, that's the first memory I can think of. Oops. The second memory I can think of is we were always out at the playground at Sunset Elementary, and it was you and me, Jerry Jarvis, Eric Core, and maybe it was Matt Spadoni as well, and everybody had these stupid nicknames. Jerry he called himself This, and I think since I was Camoris, they called me Morris the Cat. And Spadoni, I think Spadoni was Spud, like Spuds McKenzie or whatever that character was at the time. Can't remember what Eric was, but I don't know if you remember this, but you were a frog. So you would crouch down like a frog and jump around, and we'd be like, Jeff, what are you doing? And you would just say, ribbit, ribbit, and you'd stick your tongue out like a frog, which is just, oh God, it's just hilarious. I can't believe you used to do that, but we did a lot of dumb things in our life. Why I would ever think I was Morris the Cat as a first grader, I have no clue, but I just remember you always sitting out the playground while we're having conversations down on all fours like a frog, and just saying ribbit, ribbit. So that was definitely a fond memory that I have. I don't know if your kids know this or not, but growing up, we were always about the same size, I would say, till probably 8th or 9th grade. We were both late bloomers, and we were always around the same size. You were always a little bit, heavier set, heavier, stronger build than I was, but we were all around the same size. And it's hard to believe that you became this like 6'2", defensive lineman beast. And I think when I graduated from high school, I was 5'10", 150 pounds or something like that, and you got to just these mammoth sizes. But even as a young kid, you always had the mindset of a much bigger person. When we were playing football, you were playing offensive and defensive line, even though we were still the same size at these young ages, where I was playing wide receiver, cornerback, some of these other outside positions. You were always in the mix, in the scrapping in the middle, no matter, even though you were outsized by those guys. And that reminded me of your work ethic and your determination, and how you would just never give up, no matter how many times they pancaked you or just beat you to the line. You were always in there, in the mix. And then, lo and behold, you grew into this big guy, and that mindset, you'd always had it. So as you grew into this large guy, it's almost like the body grew into the attitude, the ego, the not in a negative way, just it grew. Your body grew around your personality, your never say die personality, and I always remember that about you. Another silly memory I have, I think we were probably in junior high, maybe sophomore high school, but right around that age. And your mom always had all these books, just everywhere. They were stacked in the bedroom, they were stacked in her bedroom, they were stacked in the living room, and they were just everywhere. Your mom was a voracious reader. And I remember having a conversation, because you and I weren't big readers, and it always stuck with me that your mom told us, if you don't read, you'll never be educated. And I still, through high school, I completely disliked reading. And then I think my freshman year in college, when I realized how much it was going to take to make it through, I became this just relentless reader and just became just addicted to it. And I'm not even talking schoolwork. If I wasn't reading schoolwork, I was reading fictional books. I was reading biographies. I was just into everything. And I would literally finish books and think, if it wasn't for Jeannie Haugh telling me that if you don't become a reader, you won't be educated, that was a big influence. And chances are she'll never remember that. She probably doesn't even remember saying that. And I don't even know if you remember the conversation when we were talking to your mom. But yeah, that was a huge influence on my life, and I still think of that to this day. And God, it's been over 30 years. One of the biggest, fondest memories I have of your dad is him being a Army JAG, and that kid in Stillicum shot up that Quickie Mart or 7-Eleven or whatever, and that kid was going to be facing death row, and your dad defended him. And even though I believe the kid got life in prison, talking to your dad, talking to you, that was considered a success because your dad kept him off of death row. I'm curious if that kid ever had a chance for parole, or if he's still in a cell somewhere. And I wonder if he's thankful that your dad, prevented him from getting the death penalty, because obviously he was a young kid just making stupid mistakes, and I'm sure he regrets it every day of his life ever since. But I wonder if your dad considers that a feather in his cap, that he helped keep that kid off of death row. And I'm just curious whatever happened to him. But yeah, that's one of my fondest memories of your dad. I'm not sure how aware your kids are of how crazy we were as young kids. I don't know if you remember this, 6th or 7th grade, we just had this torrential rainpour. I mean, just inches and inches, and it was flash flooding all over University Place, and we were over at your house, and I mean, every ditch was full of water. It was just running down. There was a vacant lot, I don't know, maybe 2 houses down from you, there was a vacant lot, and we literally turned it into a water slide. And we were going down this muddy path like it was a water slide, with our shirts off, just going chest first down this mud into this work site area. Just nuts. But yeah, just I don't remember if you remember that flash flood, but it was just the 2 of us. No one else was with us, and we were going crazy through that flash flood. Another thing that your kids probably don't remember or know about you is that you would never turn down a dare. You would do whatever it took to complete a dare. We were down at we walked from your house down to the Puget Sound there, down to the bay right in front of your house, and it was wintertime, February, March. I mean, we were full on jackets, long pants, coats, and I think there was someone else with us, but we dared you to go swimming. No money was exchanged. It was literally nothing but pride. You got down to your skivvies and you went swimming in the Puget Sound in the wintertime in probably 7th grade. I mean, if anybody would have seen you do that, they probably would have called the police, worried about hypothermia. But yeah, your kids, boy, I don't know if they know just how crazy you were. No matter what the bet was, you would do it. I was telling my wife the story last night about how, we were always doing the ski bus up to Crystal Mountain. And, you and I were typically the first ones on the lifts and the last ones off. But this one particular day, I went back to the bus at time, and you're like, man, I'm going to do one more run. So we're all on the bus. I don't know, there's probably 40 kids on that bus, and the bus is literally ready to leave. And I'm like, no, you can't leave. We don't have Jeff. And he said, at X amount of time, we're out of here. That's the rules. He'll find us. He'll find a way home. I see off in the distance, you're skiing in the parking lot. And I say, wait, here comes Jeff. You throw your skis underneath the bus, and you come up on the bus, and in your entire face, your goggles, your hat, your neck was just packed with snow, just everywhere. Every crevice of your body had snow packed in it. And I'm like, Jeff, my God, the bus was gonna leave you. And you looked at me and you're like, man, I just had to do one more run. And I just thought to myself, this crazy son of a bitch is ready to lose a bus that takes 2 hours to get home because he just had to get one more run in. But that was you. That was just in your nature. Another ski memory I have up at Crystal Mountain is we would always try to hit a couple runs before lessons started in the morning. And we hit this run and they had all this fresh snow, and we were on that first far right chair. I don't remember the name of the number, but we were on that first far right chair right next to the cabin where our lessons were. And they'd had all this fresh snow and they had all this stuff marked off. And we're like, hey man, let's go under the flags, under the ropes, and let's get some of this fresh powder before class starts. We were, I don't know, maybe 10 turns into this thing, and it was just wet molasses that we could not get out of. We were close to waist deep, and we dug ourselves out, and it took us so long to get out of there that we missed the entire day lesson just trying to get out from underneath that chair. And I don't know if you remember that, but it was just ridiculous how long it took us to get out, where we thought we were these cool guys are going to ski this fresh powder and make it to our lesson. And it took us the whole morning to pack our way out. So I don't know if you remember that one. Another fond ski memory I have is every weekend us going up with Marty Fopp on his Volkswagen bus, working at Cascade Ski School. Man, what a good time. I haven't skied that much for the rest of my life. When we did the math, I think we did something like over 70 days of skiing a year working up there. And it was too bad that, obviously football took away that time where you didn't get to go up there with me anymore. But man, staying up there, and I can't remember if that was the year that I had the broken hand and I was skiing all year without poles, or if that was the following year. But man, I don't know if you remember that punk little kid, Pierre. He was this whiny little French kid, and I think we called him Lucky Pierre or whatever. We gave that kid such a hard time. Anyway, he became some rich businessman. He went to Charles Wright. I think he went to like Oxford, just this off the chart smart kid. And I look back at that and I think to myself, I was this little punk high school kid giving this guy a hard time. And here he is, probably 100 times richer than we'll ever be. But yeah, Cascade Ski School, man, that was a good time. And I forget that one instructor's name, but he was literally the best skier that I've ever seen. We always tried to mimic his style. He had like the handlebar mustache or the curlicue ended mustache. I forget that guy's name. But they're good skiers, good experiences up there. What's her name that married Josh Johnston? Dana. I still keep in touch with Dana. I keep in touch with Josh. They live near my dad's old house. Great folks. It's funny how certain people that you would never think that you maintain friendships with or you follow up with. Dana and I have been friends ever since Cascade Ski School. And Josh as well, her husband. Once they got married, we've been friends ever since. So it's funny how those things work out. But I'm curious if there's anybody at Cascade Ski School that you keep in touch with, besides obviously Mark and myself. And I think I saw Marty 5 or 10 years later and said hello, and he still remembered me. It was surprising, but yeah, he remembered both of us, and always going up there on his old Volkswagen bus. And oh God, I remember that time I stuck my foot in my mouth. We were getting ride with that lady and her 2 kids, and she's like, "Hey, how do you like University Place, and how do you like the high school and all this stuff?" And I said, "Well, high school's good, but it's really gone downhill since the apartments came in." And she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I was like, "Well, just a lot of I don't know, some immature, stupid comment, like a bunch of ghetto or a bunch of low lives or a bunch of poor people. I don't know, something stupid. Considering how poor I was growing up, it's funny that I would judge other people with such immature behavior. But anyway, and then do you remember we get up to the ski school, and she's like, "Hey, I want you to meet my husband," and he was an African American guy, and I felt this big. I mean, I felt like I've got to climb, I got to crawl into a hole and just never come out. That was my lesson in life, to never judge a book by its cover, always give people respect, always give people benefit of the doubt. It was a life lesson that I've followed with me. And you were in the car when I said that jackass stupid comment. And wow, what a life lesson that I've stuck with from that point on. Completely changed my life. So, good thing that it happened, but at the same time, embarrassing and a shame that I ever said something so stupid. But I don't know. I don't know if you remember that. But yeah, lots of road trips up to Crystal Mountain and snowballing. One more thought about skiing. It's funny how much skiing and snowboarding culture has changed. Because remember, we were always out there trying to find the best jump, go underneath the ropes, doing crazy stuff, just as much as we could. And the ski patrol would be chasing us down and yelling at us and telling us how much trouble we were going to be in, and they were going to clip our passes and they were going to kick us off the mountain. And now you look at skiing and it's half pipes and skate parks and all this crazy stuff that's all the stuff that we wanted to do as a kid on the mountain, and they would never let us. And now you look at it and it's just this huge playground of tricks and all these crazy things you can do now on a mountain. It's just amazing how much the culture has changed, where they were going to clip our season pass for making a little jump, whereas guys now are getting 20 feet of air at a half pipe. So just amazing how things change. I know I sent you a text yesterday about this, but I figured I'd get this memory out there so you could share with your family. But when we were kids, we were really into the WWF at the time. Hulk Hogan, and my favorite guy was Jake the Snake, and we were really into that. It was always Friday nights because we had skiing Saturday morning, so we always stayed at each other's houses, whether it was my house or your house, and we were always watching wrestling. And I know Ed stayed over a couple times too, and he was a pretty small guy at the time, and we would just pick him up and throw him around like a rag doll and do all these wrestling moves on him. And that poor kid, he put up with so much punishment of us. It's funny, he ended up being a bigger guy than me now, but yeah, back in the day. So anyway, we love the WWF, and well, now it's called the WWE, and my youngest, he's 9, and he loves it. I mean, he knows every character. He's watched all of our old stuff, Hulk Hogan, you name it. He's seen all these old matches, and he is a diehard WWE fan. And I just think it's so ironic that it crossed an entire generation, where we watched it, we enjoyed it as young kids in that age group. And then now he's watching it and loving it. So when I come into the room and he's watching it, I think of us and back in the day how we used to do that and mimic moves and stuff. And he does the same thing. He's got this big old beanbag and he's like, "Dad, I learned how to do a flip." And he jumps off the couch and does a flip, and all because of watching wrestling. So it's funny how it's just completely crossed another generation. But so right now, if you have a chance to turn it on and watch it with your kids, my favorite guy right now, his name is Ricochet. If you have a chance to look it up, the dude is an amazing athlete, and his name is Ricochet. So anyway, my boy's into it. I don't know if your kid's watching it though. So yesterday I was telling you about that time you went to spring training, and it was Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie year, and you got these he was, handing out signed baseballs, and I think you said he hit a home run, and you grabbed the ball, and he signed it for you. Remember I told you that you gave me that ball? So here's my nightstand. And I'm pretty sure it's probably 30 years ago you gave me this baseball, signed by Ken Griffey Jr. His rookie year, it's upside down, rookie year, spring training. It is still in my nightstand 30 years later. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. And as you well know, I didn't have any money growing up. Living with my mom, divorced parents and all that stuff, so I didn't have any money. But I truly appreciated all the times that you and your dad took me to Mariners games. Those are just such fond memories of sitting on the third base line, going out and getting autographs, and just enjoying the experience. We went to so many games. Watched Mark Langston pitch. He was one of my favorites growing up. And like you mentioned the other night when we were talking to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds and Dave Valley, just so many memories. And I would have never had any of those if it wasn't for you and your dad taking me to those games, because there was no way financially that my mom would have ever been able to do that. So once again, just another significant memory in my life, and truly made me a baseball fan that I followed for the rest of my life. So thank you. Have you told your kids the story about how you were at the airport and you've been to so many Mariner games and you got to know Ken Griffey Jr.'s wife, and so you were passing notes, something back and forth between the dugout and his wife? And I don't know if you've ever shared that story with your kids, that Griffey got to know you so well that you ran into him in the airport and he called you out by name, and you're playing catch with a football in the airport with the greatest left-handed hitter of our generation, and especially in the last 50 years that did it the natural and the clean way. It's pretty cool to have that experience, and always envious of you having that experience with such a Hall of Fame amazing athlete. So I'm not sure if you've shared that story with your kids or not. Hey Jeff, it's 7 a.m, just finishing my morning workout here in COVIDville. I'm in our briefing room, just trying to make room to keep it going. But I was thinking about you today when I was working out, and I'm gonna miss you, man. I just wanted you to know that I'm gonna miss you. So Jeff, I wanted you to be able to see my view from my office. I'm telling you, man, it's a 5-star view. Just wanted to be able to share that with you. So I got another quick story for you while I'm in my office, and I was thinking about it. This will probably be the adult version that I don't know if you share this with your kids, but we were at your house Christmas holidays. I'm gonna say probably 7th or 8th grade. And do you remember the Roman candles? Do you remember you said, "Hey, I'm gonna shoot this Roman candle into the into the fireplace to see what happens"? And the Roman candle was once you fired it and they started shooting, they popped out and they were landing on the rug, and they made all these burn marks all over your mom's rug. And she came home, or the carpet, and she came home and she's like, "What are all these black marks?" You're like, "Oh, geez, Mom, I don't know. I don't know where that I don't know where that came from." Or the time that you decided to fill a glass with, I don't know if it was vodka or some sort of hard alcohol. We were down in the basement, and you drank this whole thing. You were like, I'm just going to see what it's like. I don't think we'd never even had alcohol before, and you drank this big glass. And your mom comes home, and it had probably been, I don't know, an hour and a half, and you were just completely blasted. And she's like, "Jeffrey, honey, what's wrong?" And you're like, "Oh, nothing, Mom." And you knocked the Christmas tree over. Oh, God, I don't know if you remember that, but you knocked the Christmas tree over. You were so wasted. So, figured I'd share that story. Take care. So I had to tell a quick story before I go to bed. A couple things that I've been thinking about. Do you remember when we went to Okanagan Valley Baseball Academy? Probably sophomore year, 9th grade year. And they had us sleeping in the hockey rink, and they'd wake us up in the morning playing Born in the USA because we were in a baseball academy in Canada. Anyway, you were on this kick that you thought you could speak Canadian, with the out and about and all this stuff, and we're talking to this kid, and you're like, ain't it times a good eight and bait and eight, and the guy looked at you and he's like, are you he said, are you from Australia? You're like, no, I'm from Canada, mate. You thought you had this amazing Canadian accent. It was so pathetic, but hilarious at the same time. All right, one more story and then I have to go to bed. We were crabbing on the Hood Canal with Sam, and towards the end of the trip, I can't remember if you had to get back for a sporting event or I had to get back for a baseball game, or I can't remember. But we turn around to go back, and the prop falls off of his boat. And so now we're like literally paddling back to shore to get back for somebody had a deadline. So we load up, we're in separate vehicles. You and I are in my Blazer, and then Sam is in his truck driving his boat back home. And we were driving, and we're approaching a turn, and I didn't realize that I was about to miss the turn to get towards the freeway. So I literally just crank on the steering wheel to make this tight turn so we don't miss it. And at the same time, you were actually opening the passenger door to spit out your chew. And I look over, the door is wide open, and you are nowhere to be found. I come to a screeching halt. I'm surprised my door didn't rip off from coming to a screeching halt. But I stop and get out of my vehicle, and you were in a ditch. And I was like, Jeff, are you okay? And you had like chew and stuff all over your face, and you must have done 3 somersaults into this ditch, some barrel rolls into this ditch. And you're like, hey man, I didn't know you were about to turn. And I was like, who needs to open a door to throw their chew out? How you did not hurt yourself, I don't know. But to look over, my door is wide open, you're nowhere to be found, and there's a pile of dust because you have rolled into a ditch. That is definitely one of my fondest memories of you. So I had to tell a quick story before I go to bed. A couple things that I've been thinking about. Do you remember when we went to Okanagan Valley Baseball Academy? Probably sophomore year, 9th grade year. And they had us sleeping in the hockey rink, and they'd wake us up in the morning playing Born in the USA because we were in a baseball academy in Canada. Anyway, you were on this kick that you thought you could speak Canadian, with the out and about and all this stuff, and we're talking to this kid, and you're like, ain't it times a good eight and bait and eight, and the guy looked at you and he's like, are you he said, are you from Australia? You're like, no, I'm from Canada, mate. You thought you had this amazing Canadian accent. It was so pathetic, but hilarious at the same time.